What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Make your next thing a big one. Speaking of entertainment, today on the program, I have Andrew Dean and the Farm Machine. What? Oh, you've heard about that. You've heard of Andrew Dean and the Farm Machine. He's out of the Midwest, out of Ohio, but you'll find him in Florida and some other places in this wonderful land of ours. And Nashville, yeah, he might be there somewhere in the South, somewhere in the Midwest. You might find Andrew Dean, but we're going to get to know Andrew Dean a little bit more in the next few minutes. So stick around. I encourage you. This week's shows. Let's see. Oh, I have two public shows. I will be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas on Friday night, my usual Friday night gig, the video dance party, karaoke jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. It's a little concert starring each and every one of you. They got full bar. They got the kitchens open. Good food. Good food at the Rab on Friday night. And they got 10 diamond style professional pool tables. In fact, they have a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money while you're doing it, come on, check out the Rab on Friday night. The pool tournament starts, I think they have like a shoot and run. I know how to play pool, but not very well. They have like a break and run from 7 o'clock until about 8 o'clock. And then 8 o'clock, the actual tournament starts. And then that's on one side of the Rab. And on the other side, yours truly on the ones and twos, the digital wheels of steel, and playing the music. And you guys are singing the songs right next to me at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas from 8 p.m. until 12:30 in the AM when I'm there. And then on Saturday, so exciting, another public show. You asked for it, you got it. I think about once a month, I'm going to be up at the Choctaw VFW in Choctaw, Arkansas, real close to Clinton, in the north central part of Arkansas, if you will. So, Choctaw, Arkansas, Choctaw VFW. I'll be there from 8 p.m. till about 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock. Sometimes they stretch it a little bit because they have a lot of fun because I only come around once a month. So it becomes a big deal, and I'm very happy about that. They treat me real nice over there. They got a full bar. They got pool tables. Heck, they got bingo. If the dancing and the music goes wrong or decides to have a lull, hey, we'll play some bingo. Why not? But the dancing and the karaoke seem to do just fine on their own. People have a good time at the Choctaw VFW. So come on out and join us. Won't you join us on Saturday night, 8 p.m. until at least 12:30 in the AM. All right, that's it for the intro. Let's get into it with Andrew Dean and the Farm Machine. I got to know more about this Farm Machine. What is the Farm Machine? I know I'm talking to Andrew Dean, but I got to know more about the Farm Machine. Let's find out right now. And then, I got him on Skype. So if you're listening to the audio version, I encourage you to check out the video version on my YouTube page, youtube.com/user/KeysDan. Skyping Andrew Dean now.
I see something.
Well, look at that cow poke in my video, in my broadcast software. If you're listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version. Well, with that kind of a hat, I would have to say cow poke, not necessarily cowboy, but that is like a cow poke hat. And these are my first impressions. First of all, Andrew Dean, nice to meet you. Keys Dan here. But my first impressions, listening to your music, it's good time, just having fun, good time music for the most part. But then Andrew Dean has a spiritual side, has a softer side, has a more deep meaning side. When things strike you, when tragedy strikes, you have the ability to turn that into a creativity, into something that's meaningful, that will say if somebody passes away, they die. Okay. You sing a song about them, they live forever. Am I getting the right vibe from Andrew Dean and the Farm Machine? I only have Andrew Dean. I don't know who the Farm Machine is. We'll get into that, I'm sure. How you doing, Andrew Dean?
I'm doing great. I'll tell you what, just awesome. Loving up the summer and working, but loving every minute of it. Blessed.
Well, I got you in my video right there next to me, and there's a palm tree. They're making me homesick. I'm from Miami, born and raised in Miami, South Florida, the Florida Keys. Went to high school in Fort Lauderdale, and then spent my adult years until about 40 or so in Key Largo and the surrounding area. But my grandma's still down there. I have that feeling, and when I listen to your music, and maybe there were tints. I don't want to say that it was all Jimmy Buffett, but there were hints of Jimmy Buffett. And if you can glean a little bit of style from him, I mean, are there any other people that you looked up to, if Jimmy Buffett at all? That's just what came to me because, hey, I'm from down there, and he kind of made that his home. I don't think Jimmy Buffett was even from South Florida. He was from somewhere in the Midwest, maybe. But I digress.
Cincinnati is where Jimmy Buffett came from. Now, right now, believe it or not, I'm sitting in Ohio. But we are Floridians. We do go to Florida. And yeah, you see the palm tree and all. That's a good, it makes me feel at home.
Yeah, it gives you inspiration. I mean, just to my right, stage right, I still have my Florida Sunshine State license plate, myflorida.com, Daniel G, because my actual name is Daniel Gilson, but Keys Dan's my nom de plume, my stage name, if you will, because it got hooked on me in the Florida Keys, and I can't give it up, even though I'm here in Central Arkansas. I can't give it up because many people know me by that name. But Andrew Dean, are you from Ohio?
Yes, originally, yes, I am. Up by Lake Erie, close to the roller coast. So, yeah.
Okay, tell me more. What's the roller coast?
Like Cedar Point. They have, they're the coaster capital of the world. So I grew up with that, and we're not too far away from there today. And we get to see some family while we're here, as well as work. But it's all good. I loving every minute of it. Just blessed and blessed, beyond blessed, I'll tell you.
Man, that's the second time I heard about roller coasters today. I'm an avid listener to podcasts, and there were two gentlemen on a podcast, and one was a designer of wooden roller coasters, and the other one was an engineer and primarily worked with steel roller coasters, and they were going over the advantages and disadvantages of both. I haven't been on a lot of roller coasters, but every one that I've ever been on, for the most part, have scared the bejeebies out of me. But it's a good kind of scared. It's a good kind of exhilarating, I guess, is more the feeling. Since you're so close to the roller coaster capital of the world, when you were a wee little Andrew Dean, I guess when you were Andy, when they called you Andy or just Dean. Or Drew, were you an avid rider of the roller coasters?
Well, as I aged, my first experience was on one called the Blue Streak. The Blue Streak was built in 1959, wooden roller coaster. And I was with you, scared the bejeebies out of me. And my dear mother, went along with me. And I just remember grabbing a hold of her leg. I think I bruised her leg. But in later years, it all came back. I mean, I love going on the wood coasters. They're a little more jerky and a little more, but those rail ones, they're so smooth, so smooth.
Well, that's what they were talking about. The wooden roller coaster was really defending himself. The first ride on a wooden roller coaster is smooth, so smooth. feels good. But as the wood expands and contracts with the weather, as it rains, it starts to get that rickety vibe. Still, I don't know how they measure the safety parameters. You know, I always worry that there's going to be a roller coaster flying off like it's some kind of Scooby-Doo cartoon or what have you. You know, you're like, huh, what if that thing just flew off? And, you know, some people go ahead.
That thought does come mind. I'm telling you, yeah, there's been a time or two I've been on those wondering, well, are we going to get past the clack and the click and the, you know, but it's a lot of fun. It's exhilarating, you know, and it's a lot of fun. And now down in Florida, there's Disney, of course. So there's a lot going on over that way too. So, and just a lot of folks love coasters and love going, and it's good for the family.
Well, I know growing up.
Terrifies kids, good for the family.
What's that?
I said it terrifies the kids, but it's good for the family.
Oh yeah, between that and that the Himalaya, the I guess that ride that makes you go backwards. You want to go a little bit faster. You want to go a little bit faster. Yeah. Okay. No more faster. But when I was living in Miami and you know growing up as a kid. You're talking about Disney World. I used to go once, sometimes twice a year, and we weren't rich by any means, but that was the thing that my mom and dad would save their pennies for. And we would go up and take a day trip or a couple days and go camping overnight at the campground, Mickey Mouse's campground, because it was cheaper that way. But yeah, I remember the roller coaster. I remember Space Mountain. There were some good roller coasters, and there was a year that I lived in Orlando. And I went 0 times to Disney World. What's that all about? You say that you're in Ohio, you got roller coasters. You've actually ridden on those roller coasters. I mean, is there any, if you were on the tourism board, I want to let people know, you know, what particular city you're in or what bigger city or what area you're in Ohio, and give me the highlights of what to do in that area.
Oh my goodness! Well, I'm kind of in a very touristy area of Ohio, Sandusky, Ohio. There's a lot going on there in the way of there's islands out in the lake, which they have great wineries. They have all kinds of things to do on the islands. You can take a ferry out there if you want. There's oh my goodness! There's lots of clubs and that go along the lake shore. The beaches are beautiful. This time of year, I will say this time of year, because in a couple months, it won't be so nice because Lake Erie becomes a giant ice cube. So, which is why we go to Florida.
Okay. Yeah. I had to deal with the snowbirds, and I'm very appreciative. I know that, I lived in a tourist town myself. When I was in Key Largo, I had to say hello and goodbye in 20 different languages. And it was pretty cool, that to meet people from all over the country and all over the world even. But if you're in a touristy type town, yeah, I moved to Arkansas. It snows maybe 2 days out of the year. That's 2 days too many. Yeah, I want to go back to Florida. That is the what is that? The New Yorker's favorite wine. I want to go to Florida. But what whereabouts in Florida do you hang out?
Well, it's about an hour north of Tampa, and it's kind of central. Very small town, which is what I grew up in, a small town. And neighbors know neighbors, and neighbors watch out for neighbors. So it's really.
Well, I notice you're not naming the city. You don't want the people to know about this great secret place that Andrew Dean's got in the middle of Florida. Florida has been such a, I don't know a lot about Ohio. I know the Pretenders, Chrissy Hynde. Must have come out of the, she went back to Ohio, and her pretty countryside had been paved over, but that's what I know about Ohio. But, and I guess, Cleveland rocks, man. Jim Carrey, was it Drew Carey? Another Drew, another Andrew. I'm guessing he's from there, right?
I would say so. Yes, that's probably right.
Well, because he's saying Cleveland rocks, right, with that Drew Carey show, and I guess he would have based it on his life, kind of.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Dan, the other thing about Ohio is very agriculture. I mean, there's corn, there's soybeans, and all that's, well, today wheat is the thing getting harvested, but in another month, it'll be corn. So, and that's really, really, really the big thing. I've got a song called Salute to the Farmer that's why I wrote that song. That's kind of where I come from. I worked on farms growing up, and so it was, it's a big part of my life.
Well, is that a prerequisite for a country music singer to be able to have your hands in the dirt and really have that feeling, maybe tending to cattle or, getting chicken eggs from a chicken or, feeding pigs, having that country feel? Is that a prereq? Do you think that the best country music comes from people that grew up in the Midwest, that are farmers, that are feeding us? Probably, I'd have to say the most important people in the world, the farmers, the ones that grow the food for us, whether it be meat or vegetable. Everybody's eating the food that was grown by a farmer. I think that's a very important job. Was that a family thing or a job that you worked with? What was your family life like growing up?
It was both. My family life was awesome. I couldn't ask for a better family life. I mean, seriously, my parents were great. My dad was a great provider, and he was an electrician though. He didn't farm. He was in the trades. But I can tell you, I do, Dan. I know times when I look at my dad's shoes, and one time I remember saying to him, "You know what? You need new work boots. Your toes are about hanging out." And he looked back at me. He says, "Son, do you look at your feet?" And I said, "Yeah, Daddy." And he says, "What do you got on your feet?" I said, "New shoes." He says, "Your feet are growing so fast." He says, "You first." So and that always stuck with me. It just always. I mean, it was like, the sacrifices made for family and kids, and I had that with my parents. I had parents that really were awesome. And my mom played for church. She played 3 tiers of organ and directed a choir, and so that's kind of where I kind of got my start with singing anyway. So, I truly have had a great life and a great family.
Man, I can hear it in your voice, Andrew Dean. When you're talking about your pappy, that was a life lesson right there. If there was one thing that you took away from him, is how to be a dad, how to be a good man. Okay, I will go with the holy shirt if my kids got the brand new clothes, and I have 2 myself. But are you a daddy?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have 2, boy and girl.
How are you taking those life lessons that you learned and instilling them into them? I know, one of my kids plays the video games and won't get her head out the computer. What's up?
Well, kids will be kids, right? Yeah, music is really, really the foundation that we build our family around and discovered together. Junior, he plays guitar, and my daughter Madeline, she sings. So I mean, it's and they're older now. By the way, they're when we moved to Florida, we did our own thing. We said, well, the kids are leaving, so the nest is moving. We're down to the sandy beach. So
yeah, that's the way to do it, man. Works. Well, yeah, both of my kids are out of the house now, so the wife and I are empty nesters as well, and we're able to move around and do things. I mean, we do miss our children. My oldest one made me a grandpa twice over. I'm feeling it. I don't want to get older, but I know it's going to happen. It's inevitable. But you've been doing this country music. You've been doing this music for a long time. You say your mom was church choir. I've talked to so many people that have gotten their start singing at church, getting that good timey gospel music feeling. What church was it? So I get a feel of what kind of music was coming out.
Well, the first church was an Episcopal church. The second church was when I got in 7th grade. That was a Lutheran church. And but my mama heard me sing when I probably was about, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years old in front of the stereo. And she says, "You're going to sing in choir." And I says, "I am?" She goes, "Yeah." And the first bit of advice she told me, Dan, and I got to share this with you. The first bit of advice on that, because I was nervous, and she says, "Just remember one thing. If you're going to make a mistake, make it a loud mistake. It might as well be a loud mistake." So she created a monster, because, boy, I was singing, one time I remember I was singing really loud, and she stopped everybody, and she looks at me, she says, "You need to keep it down, because we need to hear everybody." That's why they call it choir. It's like, oops, sorry.
Well, my little brother, who's 4 inches taller than me, he's 6'4", 6'5", something like that. I know in middle school, his voice dropped. So he was the only bass in middle school. And I remember there was singing Chiquita Banana. I'm Chiquita Banana, and I'm here to say, and his whole job was to say, Chiquita Banana, Chiquita Banana. So you can hear him out there. So I'm imagining little Andrew Dean belting out, his gospel praises. What song was that? Do you remember what song you were singing? The one that sticks out to you?
Well, I remember the first song I sang in church. It was actually at my grandma's church, and it's "What a Friend We Have in Jesus" was the song I sang, and I remember, no, it was "Jesus Loves Me." Sorry.
Okay.
I remember I didn't know the verse at all, but man, when "Yes, Jesus loves me," man, I was like, I was belting it, man. And the lady playing the piano, Mrs. Brubaker, she's playing the piano. She looked over at me. Her eyes were like saucers. She looked at me like, "What? Where did that come from?" And then I go back to singing "Watermelon" all through the verse, But
well, I mean, I liken it to Christmas music and gospel music. Nobody sings it poorly. It's made to be sung. Whether you believe or not, it's good music to sing, to uplift your soul. And I've been through the gambit. I don't think I must have done a Lutheran wedding at some point, and maybe an Episcopal wedding at some point over the years. But I don't think I've stepped in and actually had the experience of being in either of those churches. I was, born into a Catholic family, and now I'm American. You grow, but I've run the gambit. I've been through a lot of churches in the search for meaning, I suppose. And I know that there's good foundation there. Whether you believe wholly or not, there's a good book of instructions, to kind of live your life right. What's that?
Absolutely. My mom was very big on music, and that where she allowed me, the door was wide open when it came to hearing music, experiencing music, seeing music. And one of the experiences as a kid, I had neighbors that went to different churches. So I went to a Baptist church. I went to a Pentecostal church. I'm telling you, I learned an awful lot, and I learned what kinds of songs they do. And now I go to a non-denominational church. It's a cowboy church, actually. And it's down in Brooksville, Florida. And it's awesome. I sing there from time to time, but there's so much talent there. It's just amazing. Just amazing.
Well, I don't know if you saw the Baz Luhrmann version of the Elvis movie that just came out, and it was real stylized, where Elvis had his different influences, and Baz Luhrmann decided to put a Baptist church over on that side of the screen, and then put the blues singer on this side of the screen, and then they kind of melded together. And you get your feelings, you're listening to that old music, you're listening to that new music, and somewhere in the middle, you find your way through it. So what are the influences that you're listening to as a young Andrew Dean? Was it all gospel music when you were growing up, or was there other types of music, secular music in the house? Who's turning you on to it?
There was all kinds of music going on. I'm telling you, it was music. I listened to Louis Armstrong. I listened to some of the good old blues of Muddy Waters, right on to the Beatles, for instance, and then a lot of the 70s and 80s rock and roll. I even like the real heavy stuff. but I like it all. Music has its style and its meaning, and depending on where you want your mood to be, it can strike you in that way. You don't go playing some hot, heavy, way guitar crazy song going on when you want to get the mood right, so to speak. But, however, if you're trying to gear up for a show, bring it. So yeah, there's always a place, and at least in my life, there's always a place for styles of music, and sometimes they cross. They get crossed, and that happens in writing a lot of times, where I'll have a song that's a country song, but boy, the blues influence and that influence comes rushing in, and I've had guys tell me, hey, look, we're in Nashville, leave the blue notes out, and it's like, blue notes, but it's just my style. It's what I do, so I like it a lot, and I've had guys where I've had them in the studio playing stuff, and they'll be going, oh no, that's got too much blues notes, or that's got a little. I just turn around and look at them and go, we're keeping every bit of it. Well, it's that good.
I had a few guitars growing up, and I had a Squire Strat, which is like the Fender lesser brand. It comes in like a $150 pack with a little amp and a couple strings and picks. And then I had the Ibanez RG120, I think it was, and that one had the double humbuckers on it, and it sounded real nice. But I was trying to learn how to play it, and there was a doctor. I was working at the hospital down in Miami, and there was a doctor that was a kind of a jazz hashtag blues singer. The kind of doing the both. And he was trying to teach me the scales and stuff, but from what I understand, everything comes from the blues. When I saw the Blues Brothers back in 78 or 80, whenever that came out, man, that blew my mind. So that type of music. And I just realized I do have to make a trip to Ohio, Cleveland. Isn't that where the Rock and Roll Hall of Music is?
Sure is. Is.
Have you been there?
Yeah. No, I have not.
What?
They would probably kick me out because I'd have to try all the gear on or mess with something I shouldn't.
Yeah, there was a time I had the chance down at the Guitar Center down in Kendall. There was Lucille was down there, BB King's guitar, and yeah, you weren't supposed to touch it, but I touched it. I touched it.
Oh yeah,
I touched it.
Yeah,
I touched Lucille.
I'll tell you, I had a friend who was driving a bus for I shouldn't even say this, probably, but I will. He was driving it for a band that was playing at Ozfest, and the fellow's guitar was in the back of the bus. Well, this guy and I were talking, and we were carrying on, and he says, "Come on in," and so we got to talking. He showed me the studio in the back, and he says, "This is what they use back here." And I said, "Man, that is one wild looking Guild guitar right there." He goes, "Play it, pick it up, play it. Let me hear you." So I did, and when I set it back down, he goes, "If my boss knew that I let you play that," he says, "I would be looking for work." So that's why the band has remained nameless till now.
It's still nameless because I don't know whose guitar was that. Who was playing that?
You're not gonna either, because I cannot give that up. I promised him I would never say anything. So a promise is a promise is a promise.
Oh my goodness, like an elephant, 100%.
You know it.
That's beautiful, man. All right, I got to know, man. Inquiring minds got to know. Now I'm kind of wondering who plays a Guild guitar and was in Ozfest. And if you give me the year, I could probably narrow it down even more.
All I would say is they have long hair. There you go. How about that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that narrows it down to hundreds of bands. Hundreds of bands. But you were talking about music that melded together. Yeah, I don't know when you were 10 years old, how old you are now, but back in the 90s, music was definitely melding together. Hip hop and country were just blending together, and rock and roll was popping in there, and hip hop and rock and roll. So, I mean, they were really experimenting in the 90s with that kind of a thing. I mean, were you playing back then? And did you experiment with any of that stuff?
Oh, sure. Yeah. You betcha. My country career started back in the 90s, where I was doing country music. And like I said, I've been very blessed to do a lot. But my goodness, over the years, there's just been so many different influences that have come in to make it. And then I'm always looking at new influences. For instance, on our honeymoon, we went to Jamaica. So all of a sudden I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this Jamaican music and I'm hearing the, and I'm thinking, oh yeah. And so I could hear that in country. I could get that in a country song. I could feel that in a writing style. So, I mean, there's just been many. And another good one, the Mexican mariachi. I love that stuff. I absolutely love it. It's got the horns. It's got, the rhythms and the beats. And it's a unique style. And those styles, and you get them to blend with what you're trying to do. And all of a sudden it's like, boy, this guy's got really a unique sound, or he's got this or that. Well, I'm all over the place. I mean, I've always kid people and tell them if I was a dog, it'd be a Jack Russell, squirrel.
Well, I mean, you're talking about Jamaican music. I grew up in an island, and granted, it wasn't, one of the Jamaican or the Turks and Caicos type islands. It was, Key Largo. So we had our share of reggae bands that would come through. But, back in the 80s, who was doing the slap 7? You heard the Police with that Every Breath You Take. There was that slap 7. They had a little reggae undertone. And then you're talking about Mexican music, and then you listen to polka music from the other side of the planet, and it's got similar qualities. Music is music, man. It doesn't, as long as all the chords are being put together, chord progression, that's another thing. Did you study? Because I saw that you went to school, but it doesn't say what you went to school for. Did you study music, or what were you studying when you were studying at Bowling Green?
Let me put it to you this way. Well, Dan, I was working on becoming a radio DJ at the time.
Yeah, if you were doing it back in the 80s, back in 86, I learned how to Ralph. Hey, everybody, how you doing? It's WKPX 88.5. Oh, my.
I had some guest spots in Toledo, Ohio and stuff where I DJ'd there. And it was a blast to do. But then I decided I wanted to make the music, do the music, rather than play the music,
well,
so to speak.
That's me on the other side of the coin. In 86, I didn't know how to play a song, but I knew that I wanted to be a part of the community. So my job is to break people out. When I go to the club, I'm going to play an Andrew Dean song, and they're going to go, who's that up on the video screen? And I do appreciate that you made music videos, because I do incorporate that when I'm playing on Friday and Saturday nights at the RAB and Choctaw VFW, respectively, here in Arkansas. But they're going to hear some Andrew Dean this week, and it's going to be up on the screen, and they're going to say, who is that? Hey, it's Andrew Dean and the Farm Machine. Get on the dance floor. And they're going to do it because it's that good timey. Like I said, it makes you want to move your feet, makes you want to have a good time, makes you want to get on a boat and just drive, just ride real fast, and maybe pull a jet ski or an inner tube behind you and just have a good time. Long as somebody else is on the inner tube, though, because, buddy, that could be a rough ride. Man, I was, let's see, in 86, in the later 80s, I was in college, and I would always take I was in college up in Fort Lauderdale, but I would take the 2-hour trip with my frat brothers down to my grandpa's down in Key Largo, and he had a boat, and I'd say, Poppy, let me borrow your boat, and we'd borrow his boat. And I'd put an inner tube on one rope off one side and a knee board on the other side. And I put the knee board just a little bit closer. And so that way the knee board can squirt the inner tube guy. And yeah. And of course we brought the boat back, low on gas and maybe damaged in some way. It's not the thing to do, kids. No. It's not the thing to do. Always leave it filled up. You're supposed to fill that thing up and make sure it's washed and cleaned.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, you say you're in Florida. Well, I mean, even in Ohio, you say there's beaches there. I had no idea that there was beaches in Ohio. I thought it was always frozen.
No. We get about 90 days of real good swim weather, where it's the water is finally warming up. You can get in there and swim. Of course, I don't know, some of these Ohioans, they get crazy. They go in January. I mean, that's like, nah.
Well, like I said, I'm class of 86. I'm a child of the MTV era. I remember when MTV first came out. I do appreciate you have videos out there. Who's making these videos and who's in the background of these videos? Is it filmed in Ohio? Am I getting a glimpse of Ohio in your music videos, or is it Florida? Well, I'm seeing the Salute to the Farmer. Definitely has some farm stuff, and that's pretty cool.
That one's a lot of Ohio there, but it also has a few Florida farms in it as well. The church that we go to, we have a lot of ranchers. And yes, cowboys do exist in Florida. There's a roundup that they do. I have a lot of guys in our church. They ride horses, cattle drive. So, I mean, and I love being around people who they make it so that we all can eat. They're committed enough to what they do that we are blessed to eat and have all the things that we are blessed to have. And every now and again, they'll be saying, hey, Andrew, you want to come out and ride? Oh, buddy, I'm there. And just like in Ohio, I get that too. And usually it's some folks saying, you want to go out on the lake on the boat? No, buddy, I'm there. So I've got, like here in the sun, that video has a group of boats on the Maumee River, and that's here in Ohio. And that was at the fireworks. And so a fellow was doing drone work and that. So I says, can I use some of that footage? He says, yeah, you sure can. So that's a lot of my buddies that I hang around with up here. And then we've got, we also have Anna Maria Island, and we have some other footage from, okay, my wife is telling me over here. She's like naming off all this Florida stuff. I think she's getting homesick. That's what I think's going on.
Well, the thing is, once a man gets married, you don't have to use your brain anymore because you married someone that can help you out with that. I don't think that I've made a single decision on my own in the 20 plus years that I've been married. Everything is joint. I know she's made plenty of decisions on her own for sure. And I'm saying it loud enough that she can probably hear me. But I don't make any decisions without her, and I'm glad you have her. That's important. Now, you were talking about cowboys down in Florida. I know this for a fact, man. I went to high school at Western High School in Davie, Florida, and Broward College in Davie, Florida. They have one of the biggest rodeos down there in Davie, Florida. I don't know if you've ever been that far south. Sounds like you stick in the central Florida area. That's a little far.
We go all over.
Oh, okay. Tell me.
I've gone all the way out to that Bell, the most southern point there out on the Keys, and had me a $20 Jimmy Buffett burger, and my wife got a $20 Jimmy Buffett burger. And I said, well, that was pretty special. I like Jimmy Buffett and all, but $40 for 2 cheeseburgers in paradise. I'm not sure that's paradise.
Well,
Where's the Wendy's?
I've been to Margaritaville plenty of times. In fact, I was a firefighter down in Key Largo, and when on my off days when I wasn't actively in the station, I worked for a fire extinguisher service. So I would go all these different businesses, including restaurants, including Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, and check their hood systems and check their fire systems. And that was kind of a behind the scenes way to travel and to look at things and to be touristy. So even when you're working in the Keys, you're still touristing in the Keys because you see all these people. All right, there's a thing called Keys disease. You see all these people that are on vacation, hanging out by the pool. What do you want to do? Take your tool belt off. You already got your shorts on. Go jump in the pool. What about work?
Why not?
Nah, it's too nice a day to work.
Yeah, but you know what? Those bills keep coming. So
they do.
Reality sinks in, I'll tell you.
They do. But okay, so how far did you go with radio? You said you did guest spots. Did you ever? Okay, and I want to let my loyal listener know that there's a handful, maybe 2 handfuls of people that make a really decent living on the radio. Most of the people, $10 an hour. Some of the people don't even get paid money. They get paid in T-shirts and CDs. Okay, and kids, if you're born after the 2000s, a CD was this round. Never mind. I'll tell you later. But I mean, you're a guy that started out in the 90s. Were you making albums? Your singer-songwriter is what's on your shingle there. What about the songwriting and the singing? Were you writing all of your own songs, or were you doing a lot of covers?
No. I write an awful lot. I've got tons of notebooks of stuff I haven't done. Here's a little tidbit that's probably not common knowledge, but in my early days, I was actually in rock bands. So when I was in the rock bands, I wrote rock and roll songs. So I mean, that's we did a lot of different things, and we played a lot of places. We were kind of a regional thing around here. And they would work us. So,
that fits in well with with what the kids are doing these days. I mean, this Morgan Wallen, and he's all over the map. Okay, he's primarily a country singer, but he's got this Last Night song that is all over the pop charts. So do not limit yourself, Andrew Dean or La Farm Machine. I want you to sing that rock and roll, man. And one of my favorites was when Hayseed Dixie bluegrassed all this rock and roll music. If you have rock and roll songs and you want to turn them into a country, give them a little twang, put a little steel guitar on them, I think you can do it. I mean, is that something that you've done or kind of experimented with? Or when you're writing,
done that.
Oh, okay. Well, I figure when you're writing country, are you thinking country? Or when you're writing rock, are you thinking rock? And there's no melding of the two. Or what do you think?
Well, you start out, your basic E, and then you go to A, and then you start chunking it, and it's like, okay. And you can think of a rock song. Yeah, that'd be a good rock song. But now I'm going to bring in the tractor, and I'm going to drive my truck around, and then I'm going to. So I always kid people. I say, and it's the old joke. If you play it backwards, you get everything back. So,
Okay, tell that whole joke. Tell that whole joke for my listener. And I know this is going to be a dad joke for you. If you could give me that whole joke.
Well, you get the country song that's he loses his wife, he loses his truck, and the dog died, and the bank just foreclosed on the house, and the gloom, despair, and agony on me. And you play it backwards, and well, guess what? The dog's back alive. You get your farm back, and you get your wife back, and your life comes back. So hey, it's all good.
You just made a hee-haw reference, man. Don't think that I didn't catch that hee-haw reference. And you were gone. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you know it.
Man, I'm on TikTok and I'm watching this video, and they had a compilation of the Where Are You Tonight? Johnny Cash showed up. Conway Twitty showed up. Loretta Lynn showed up. So many of the greats showed up and sing this Despair, and you were gone. Oh my gosh. It was just a cavalcade.
You're out in Arkansas, right?
Yes, sir.
No, that's the home of Johnny Cash.
Oh, you know this. We got 2 statues that are going to Washington, and one of them is Johnny Cash. I can't remember who the other one is, but we got 2 statues, and they're being commissioned, and every state gets 2 statues of famous people that came out of their state, and they get sent to Washington. Johnny Cash is heading to Washington. He's our favorite son, at least for now. I know he's long gone.
I was this close to meeting him. I mean, I toured with his sister, Joanne.
Wow.
And we did some dates. And he was supposed to come out to the show. And when she showed up, I was all excited. I was like, oh, man, I'm going to get to meet Johnny Cash, but trying to be very cool, And she walked in, and it's like she says, well, Andrew, I hate to tell you, but my brother's in the hospital with pneumonia. So it's like, oh, man. And that was, June had passed, earlier, and that was kind of Johnny's final hurrah. But I got to tell you what, boy, I was so excited. I thought I was going to meet the man. And I've got to meet some mighty fine folks out there. Jan Howard, the Tall Texan Billy Walker, just a lot of folks who've gone on. But, oh, my goodness. And I so wanted to write with Jan. But with that, just, it's one of them things. Oh, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. And, well, that's why it's important, live that dash, man.
Well, that's just it. Live like every day was your last. If you get an opportunity, do it. Go for it, because you never know. Those people aren't going to be around forever. I've had my brushes with greatness. I never met John Cougar Mellencamp, but I met his brother Ted down at Holiday Isle in Key Largo. In Alamorada. So I got that. But I guess in the next couple of weeks, I'm supposed to be speaking to Elvis Presley's first cousin, which I'm so stoked about. I have the key to the Heartbreak Hotel on my keychain. So it's nice to learn from greatness, to get your brushes with greatness. And if you get a chance to play on a stage with someone and you're kind of iffy, I don't know if I want to say yes, be a yes man. Are you? I have done that before. I've walked away from a situation where I could have got up, and in Texas, happened in Texas. And boy, oh boy, when I drove away, I said to my wife, man, I should have got up. She just looked at me like, dude, you had your chance. That's like, you know what? I just told my wife that she could beat me over the head with that now forever. So, and she doesn't. She's a good woman. But, it really was one of those moments. It was like, oh, what were you thinking, man? You weren't. So, we all have those crossroads, in life. And you've given me a couple of crossroads. The one at 10 years old, when you really started getting into the music and started singing your gospel music and singing your Jesus Loves Me, but then you get into college in the 90s. You start the music. What were you? What kind of gigs were you playing in the 90s? We played anywhere from the Flats, which was down in Cleveland by the river, by the lake. And then, you name it. We played all over. Serwins and Sycamore Grove, all these places that were little dewdrop inns. And we blew a hole in the roof in the one place. So that was pretty nice. So, yeah. I was on a catwalk thing out, and I was singing. And our light man, Scott, he come over and he starts pouring this stuff in. And I said, he goes, no, I got a good eye. I could tell. I said, all right. And so we get out there for the second set. And I'm walking out, and I had these we were into this now, mind you. I had these little finger cannons, okay? And they'd shoot that flash paper out. So I come out and boom, like that. And at the same time, he set that flash pot up, blew a hole right in the ceiling. So you literally blew a hole in the ceiling. I thought you were speaking figuratively. Okay. No, we did. The guy who owned the place comes strolling up, looking at the floor. He got right under that flash pot. I'm singing now. We're up there doing our thing. The dance floor's packed. And he looks up at that hole on the ceiling, and he looks at all of us. He goes, y'all are going to pay for that now. But the show must go on. My goodness, went on. We just kept it going. Yeah. Oh yeah. I was playing music down at this Whiskey Bent down in Cabot, Arkansas, and there was a big rainstorm. Now, mind you, this is a metal, like a metal like a shed, really, that was turned into a bar, and the rain kept coming. And it started to cave that metal roof in, and my equipment started to get wet. I was like, no, whoa, PA system, DJ stuff. That's the thing about working with electricity. Now, what kind of instruments do you play? Well, I have about 19 guitars. I have a lap steel guitar, yeah, and I have 2 mandolins. My goodness.
I've got a banjo guitar, which is like a 6-string banjo. I have a bass guitar, 2 octaves, concert style bass. Do keyboards. I took piano for a long time. My mom, of course, being an organist and all. But and when I kind of got towards that last part of high school, I just demanded playing football, instead of playing the piano. She said, "You'll regret it." Well, she was right, but I did pick it back up, and we're all good. But yeah, I have an 88 key fold up. It folds, which I just got it here about a month and a half ago. Never knew they had such a thing. You unfold it out, and you got your full 88 keys. So yeah, and it weighs 8.5 pounds. So perfect.
That is pretty cool. That's nice for a touring musician. But, I've heard of Gamblers Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous. Is there a Musician Anonymous? Because it sounds like you're buying loads of gear. How can you play all this stuff at one time? Why do you need so many guitars?
You sound like my wife now.
I don't want to sound like your wife, man. I think I'm
telling you, I hear it, man.
It's a thing, man, because you got this guitar that sounds this kind of way, and that guitar that tunes that kind of way. And how many do you bring and set up with you on stage? I've seen 5, 6, 10 guitars in front of the, right behind the lead guitarist, and he'll pick each one up on different songs. How many are up there on stage with you?
I usually try to go with maybe 4 or 5, depending on what it is. But there are things you have to have tuned up, tuned down. Some you really have awkward tuning just to get that unique sound put into the music. And as long as you can play the chords and get a good blend, I mean, whether you're on the 3rd, the 5th, or the 7th, or the 9th, as long as you can get that to blend into the music, those different tunings do come in handy, and they give you a unique sound.
Well, now you're talking inside baseball, man. And it's good to have all those guitars behind you, because they're going to be tuned for different types of music, different songs. And I'm listening to some podcasts with like some older guys from that played music back in the 60s. And one of the guys admitted he didn't know how to tune his own guitar. He just tuned it to itself. And that's how he got such an interesting sound. There was so many, because electric guitars, Les Paul was great. And, and a few others were playing guitar back in the 50s. But in the 60s, they really explored and stretched out the ability to make different sounds. And there were some people that, I don't know how I got that sound on there. And I couldn't tell you how to tune that guitar. I just tuned it the way I knew how, you got to have different, you have to have different guitars for different songs. At least that's what I've heard, or else you're going to have a lot of dead time between songs while you're messing with your tuning forks. Now, do you tune all your own guitars, or are you fancy enough to have a technician?
I want to make sure it's right. If I was jumping out of an airplane with a parachute, I'd want to make sure I pack the parachute. Just if anybody messes it up and I mess it up and something bad happens, it's on me. So, But the other part about that is you got to make sure that if you have those guitars tuned that way, just pick up the right one for the right song, because that's happened before. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, no.
I believe that to be true. Now, I don't want to pack my own parachute at all because I don't know how to do it. But I noticed in one of your videos, there's some bungee jumping going on. Was that you?
Yeah, no, not me.
Not you.
No. Young folks are fine. You go ahead. If you want to do that, that's cool. But, I like my feet on the ground. And the same thing goes with that parachuting, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I was a firefighter down in Key Largo back in my 20s, So we did a lot of rappelling. There was 5-story buildings in Key Largo, and even in Tampa. You said you spent a lot of time around Tampa a little north of there. But we did a traverse line from one building to another, doing some training. And man, that was exhilarating. That's the closest thing to bungee jumping or any kind of daredeviling that I've done in that respect. But you never done any of that stuff when you were a kid, experiencing some craziness in Ohio?
I can tell you, I have. In Jamaica, I did cliff diving. that was an experience. And then I got to tell you this, there's the old adage, hold my beer, watch this. I had a friend, Chris, when I was growing up. We were down to his house, and we was playing Superman. We was just kids, and I had this cape on, and I had this Pepsi in my hand. I took a slug out of that Pepsi, and I said, hold this, watch this. I jumped off of the roof, and when I jumped off the roof, I realized it was pretty high up. So I reached for it. There was a wire going across. I reached for the wire, and when I did, I came to the ground, and I thought I was Batman, because that was live at 5. And
that was a live wire? You grabbed some kind of a high voltage wire?
Oh, yeah. Chris's mom came out of the house. She says, you, pointing at me, go home. You, get in the house. And I thought, oh, man.
Did they lose power? Did you cut off their power?
Well, I don't know what happened, because I didn't go in the house, and I didn't ask.
You just ran back home.
I know my ears were ringing.
Well, that's yeah. Okay. Don't mess with electricity. And your dad was an electrician. You should have known. You should have known better.
He's been hit twice by lightning.
He's been hit twice?
Me.
You?
Yep. Yes.
Wow.
My wife says, well, that's what's wrong with me.
Or that's what's right.
Yeah. No. Yeah. The third time though, so Dan, when it comes down to that, brother, I'm inside.
Okay, you're a lightning rod.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, Andrew Dean, man. All right, we got to get into what's going on now with you. We've got enough background, but I think I've taken some of your time. I got to know what's Andrew Dean and the Farm Machine doing right now.
Well, we played today. We had a little happy hour deal, which is kind of nice. People just sitting around having some beverage and doing some songs, and that's always nice. I've got a 4-hour gig coming up not too far from here on Saturday. That'll be a pretty good challenge there. So singing for a real good crowd, fireworks afterwards, and but we're going to have a good time. I look forward to that kind of stuff just so much. And we work every day of the week, though. There's always work. I shouldn't even call it work, because it isn't. I love it. I don't have to punch a time clock or anything else. I'm doing what I love to do. Life is so good. So good.
That is fantastic. And I love that we're in this time of celebrating independence. I know July 1st, I had a private show at a house, and they shot off fireworks. And just last Saturday, July 8th, I said, well, we're celebrating the 8th of July, still independent. And they shot off a bunch of fireworks and lit their street on fire. I'm sure their neighbors weren't happy about them because, by the time they finished their big finale, there was a bonfire in the middle of the street, and they were all in the pool while I was playing music for them. And I was going, somebody want to go put that out? Because I think the street division is probably going to be upset about that. But I see you're still shooting fireworks off, and we're late into July. I like that. I like that a lot. But you're talking about, all right, for a DJ to do a 4-hour gig, no big deal. I got a bunch of other people's songs. For a musician, for a working musician, to come up with 4 hours of music, that is hard work. Okay?
Well, I think the biggest challenge on something like that is number one, keeping it interesting, and number two, also making it so that it flows, and the energy level. You have to try to find a balance in there somewhere. If I'm doing an hour-long show, I can throw a brickload of energy into that hour, and it's great. But if you're doing 4 hours, buddy, you better pace yourself, because by the third hour, you're going to be sitting there going, I need to set. I need a break.
Well, but, like I said, you got a mix of good timey music, and you got some of that soulful music, some of that stuff that'll make you think and put the couples on the dance floor. So you're doing a good mixture, and you're reading the crowd. I'm sure. Are you you're the front man? You're the guy that's in the front. But who's in the band with you?
Well, that varies. That's why it's Andrew Dean and the Farm Machine. There are times I can come with local guys, times I have to come with national guys. And when I'm talking national guys, okay, the guys like that recorded when I recorded my Wanted album, that was Great Day Nashville there. The guy playing steel, Steve Henson, he's a Country Music Hall of Fame. Larry Mars on bass. He toured with Marty Stewart. Drummer toured with Marty Stewart. Chris Golden, who's one of the Oak Ridge Boys, William Lee Golden, the guy with the big beard, that's his son. He played keys for him. So, and then James is James. That dude is, oh man, I hear what he does on that guitar, and I just look at him and just like, oh, son. He goes, did you like that? Was that good enough? It's like, dude, that was it right there now. So, but yeah, just an awesome team. But, you know, it just depends on budgets and things like that to where what we can do and how we have to do it. There's times I do shows by myself. So, I mean, it just depends on, you know, I refer to it as rocks, pebbles, and sand. So you've got jobs that are huge, which is your rock, and your pebbles is kind of, and the medium thing where you might have local guys or something. And then the sand is just some old cowboy such as myself standing there, you know, doing my thing.
Well, so, that's a nice thing about being a singer-songwriter and also having the ability to accompany yourself with a guitar or your 8-pound fold-out piano. I got to check that out, man. That kind of reminds me of Tom Hanks and Robert Loggia in Big with their fold-out piano.
Yeah, you can't walk on this one. This one, it doesn't fold out like that. It actually folds up into two pieces, about yay big, and folds out this way into 88 keys. I was amazed.
That's pretty cool. Just amazed. And I guess you plug that into your sound system, and away you go. Good sound.
And it's good. It sounds good. Yeah, doesn't sound like some little tinny machine. It sounds good. I can get a good grand piano sound out of it. So. Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about recording music too, man. I guess you got together with a good man. If there's a good recording studio, they're going to have a bunch of hired guns that are just hanging around, waiting to play. Was it Green Onions that were playing on everything, and the Stax Records got their own band, and Motown's got their own in-house band. I remember hearing about when the Monkees showed up and they all had their instruments, and they said, all we need's Davey. Everybody else can go. What? Really? That was it, and Mickey and all the rest of the band's going, I guess we can just go. But
what are we, Chop?
Apparently, it sounds like you had a good enough budget when you made your Wanted album. Now, where can they find that Wanted album? Is it still out there?
Oh yeah. You can get it on all the YouTube, Facebook has it. Of course, it streams on Spotify. You can get it at Apple iTunes, Pandora, DistroKid, CD Baby, Amazon. I think we even have some that are at Walmart.com. So I mean. We get them a little bit everywhere. I tell you, though, the latest project I'm working on is going to wind up being 3. And you'll get a kick out of this because I'm recording a whole nother album rather than in Nashville, like the previous ones were, in Weeki Wachee.
Yeah.
You know Weeki Wachee is?
Oh, yeah.
Florida.
My old house, man.
Of the mermaids.
That is pretty cool.
Home of the mermaids.
No,
so I got a studio there I'm working with, and there's some guys there that I'm telling you right now are great to work with, but I really have some freedom. I have some freedom here, and because I do, that Jack Russell thing comes in where I'm writing Christian music, yes, I'm writing trop music, yes, and then I'm writing country music. And then also I am working with a Nashville studio where I'm writing country music. So it's there's a lot going on, and when it all comes together, it's gonna be good.
Well, Andrew Dean, it's nice to be the boss, and it's nice to have that creative control because then you're going to get your vision out there, and these guys are there to support you. Yes, you're paying them. Yes, you're giving them that kind of that monetary, but you're also you come with the creative. The flow you have, your idea is fully formed already. Now I have all those links to the different streaming services and places where they can buy the music. Oh, sorry. I think we cut out a little bit. I have all the links to all the various streaming sites and such, so that way people can click those links. But let's get into, just for a few minutes, because I know we're going a little bit long here, but the business side. How are folks making money without being independent, without a record company pushing behind them? Is it all live shows? And I do miss albums. I do miss having an album in my hand, especially when I was on the radio and I'm introducing a song. I put the platter on the Technique turntable, and then I read some of the liner notes that are inside the 12-inch album. And I go, oh, he was growing up at this part of town, and he was thinking about this when he wrote this song. Let's take a listen to Andrew Dean and the Farm Machine. Bam. Right? Do you? Yeah,
that's all. That's cool. That's cool to do. And I got to tell you, like I said, we've got, when you get down to the business end of music, that's a whole nother thing there. There's a lot to it where you can make your money, where you learn that you can't make your money, where you learn you have to do things just to promote and get yourself in front of maybe somebody who's going to help you make that money. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into it that make it happen. I mean, we go from Atlanta, Florida, we go out to Texas, Albuquerque. Like I said, we're in Ohio, we'll be playing in Indiana, going to be at the ISSA, the International Singer-Songwriter event here in a month in Atlanta. So I get to play the after party. So that's going to be pretty cool. And I've got a ton of nominations with that group. And we'll just see what happens. I'm a finalist in a lot of categories with them. Last year, I got Band of the Year with them. And then also we had the Western Arts Academy of Arts. I'll get it right here. They gave me, I was amazed. My song, High Plains Drifter, they gave me this statue. And I mean, it was huge. They do things big in Texas. And on the top of this marble bottom was a statue of Will Rogers. And it's all numbered and everything, just like an Academy Award. And you have to sign for it. And so that was quite an honor. Like I say, we've been so blessed. I don't like to really, awards to me mean the people I meet. That's what means something to me. The people I meet, lifelong friendships, and that's what means something. I mean, truly, that is it for me.
Well, you got a Will Rogers attitude. Never met a man he didn't like, or something like that. What was I'm paraphrasing. Was that what he said?
I'm not real sure.
I think it was never met a man he didn't like. I guess he didn't meet a lot of people, because some people will rub you the wrong way. But hey, I give people a chance at first, for sure. I've been walked all over because of it, but look at people in the eye and take them at face value, and until they do something wrong, make sure I treat them like they're all right. And I always think that people are mostly good. There's a few bad apples out there, and you have to deal with them one at a time. But as a whole, I think we're surviving. We're doing all right. We're good. People are generally good, and But hey, I know we've taken some time here, and I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. I want you to come back here from time to time and tell me what's going on with Andrew Dean and the Farm Machine, whomever they may be, because that Farm Machine lineup sounds like it keeps on changing. But Andrew Dean, I guess you keep on changing as well, because you were rocking, and I guess you were influenced by all kinds of music, and you're putting out, what kind of music you putting out? Andrew Dean music.
You betcha, buddy.
Yeah.
You betcha. And it's been really great to be with you today. I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, that anybody who wants to see where I'm at, it's Andy, that's .us, like United States. go to the website, take a look around to see people I've been with, where I'm going, where I've been, all that good stuff. My music is there as well. So, just come on in and set a spell.
Well, I want you to say that website again, because due to technology, you cut out a little bit again. So say that website one more time.
Sure. It is www.andrewdean, which is me, .us, like United States.
I like that. I couldn't find that at first, and I'm looking. You have social media. You got two Facebook pages, your personal one and your Andrew Dean Country, and then you have a YouTube page, Andrew Dean Official. But as far as that, I mean, we grew up way before the internet, but now you have to be some kind of internet presence for anybody to even recognize you. You got all your music out there on the right places. I see Bandcamp and Amazon and Spotify, Apple, Reverb Nation, Shazam. But those are the right places to be to get that streaming. But who's helping you with your Instagrams and your TikToks, or are you even on that kind of stuff?
Well, my wife and I work it all. I mean, we work it all. And there's times I get up with my morning coffee, and I try to be somewhat regimented, but I look at that clock and it's like, oh man, but my work isn't done here. But so I have to kind of pick and choose where I can go with things, because I've got a lot of other obligations. But I like to be timely and be there, So
well, I do tell the kids, you never work harder until you have your own business. It's really almost unavoidable that you're going to work 24 hours a day, but you got to set yourself a schedule, from 8 to 5, you're going to be working on music, or from 12 to 3 or whatever, you're going to check emails only twice a day, or once a day even, because, if not, you'll be on that email all day long, mostly spam. Oh, that's a good one. Spam. I've got to leave time to write every day. I've got to, if I don't get that creative flow out, I just get backed up. That's all. My mind just gets in 50 directions. And then I get a day or so where I just have to say, it's like this. Today is a lake day. Today is, we're going to the lake, or we're going to the golf, or we're just going to get away. And I'll be the guy sitting there with my ball cap on, down in my chair with my, you would in there. That'd be the only clue that I even, but I may not be playing it. It might be resting too. Well, I try to keep lazy Sundays off the books. So I understand taking a day off for you, and that's very important. I know you have your best teammate right there, your best cheerleader, your wife. She's been giving you some feedback already. The kids, you said the one's playing guitar, the other one's singing. Have you ever put together some music with them?
No, they do their own thing. My son likes the heavy rock. So, but he likes Christian heavy rock. He does Christian music, something a lot of teenage and 20-somethings relate to. And that's good. I encourage all the way. Would I like to do things? Sure. But our styles are way extreme different. Now, if I met my son when I was in my 20s, we get along real good. But
I think you're doing just fine. You've raised some kids, and now you're living your life. You got the wife, and you're traveling and playing. You're a minstrel. You're a traveling musician. And not only you're traveling, but a lot of times a traveling musician is hard on a family. But if you could take your wife with you, that's it. Problem solved. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, my man.
Absolutely. I don't want to be with her.
That's good. See, a lot of people don't believe me when I say I want to go home and see my wife. They go, really? Yep. Yeah, I do. I enjoy her. I think she's great.
We've been married 26 years. So I can't believe she put up with me 26 minutes, let alone 26 years.
Well, mazel tov, man. May the honeymoon never end, man. That's fantastic.
That's it.
All right, my brother. I want you to give a couple of shout outs to people that have helped you along the way, and then we'll close this thing up with some last words. Give some shout outs.
My number one shout out would have to go to my wife because, like you said, she is my best friend. She keeps me on track, one boot print at a time on my backside, but nonetheless, she keeps me in line, and that's good. She keeps me grounded. I need that. My dad, who's still alive, again, all the way back to the boots that we talked about earlier, to even today. He was at our show last night, and he came up. Dad, he came out, and my dad, he doesn't cry. He's a veteran. He's like, oh, last night he had tears, just telling me just how proud he was. And so, I mean, there are times in your life that things come around, and boy, oh boy, I just, like I say, blessed.
Fantastic. All right, my man. Once again, I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. Come back anytime. We'll set something up, and you can talk about what new is happening with Andrew Dean and the Farm Machine. All right. I always finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by. This could be something that you heard a long time ago, some words of advice, a mantra maybe that you wake up with every morning, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Andrew Dean, give the last words for the people.
Well, I want to say first, too, I was a little remiss. I should thank you, too, Dan, for your time today. Awesome. I just have loved it to be here with you. If I had any words of advice or any words, nuggets of wisdom, so to speak, I would just say, remember one thing. We're all in this together. Live the dash. You know, you got your beginning time. You've got your appointed time at the end. That dash in between, live it each and every day to its fullest. And remember, always remember, put God first in your life. That would be my words of wisdom, and that would be the truth that's worked for me.
Well, there you have it, party people. Andrew Dean. And now you know who the Farm Machine is. It's a mix match. It's various people, fine musicians that are backing up Andrew Dean and helping him to achieve his dream, his goals. And, hey, man, you know, it takes a good musician to come in every once in a while and pick up right where they left off. I mean, can you read the sheet music? Do you have to just know the tune? Do you have to listen to the song? Some people just listen. They don't read sheet music. They'll listen to the song, play it a couple of times. Oh, I got it now. My cousin Timmy does that. He can listen and play. Bam. Heard the song on the radio, brand new song with the guitar. Oh, got it. No problem. Man, that's what these studio musicians can do. The hired guns is what I called them. You know, various studios around the country and around the world have their own in-house musicians that, you give them a couple bucks, maybe sometimes more than a couple, and they'll put out a good product. They'll help you to put out the best product you can do. And of course, a good sound engineer doesn't hoit. Somebody with a discerning ear that can mix it up, master it, and make sure it's just right for radio play. Sounds like Andrew Dean. He puts his money where his mouth is, and he makes sure that he gets the good product out there. And you're going to get a good product. And when you go to an Andrew Dean show, you're going to get a good show too. I mean, just check out some of the stuff he's got on his YouTube. Andrew Dean Official on YouTube. Check that out. Man, you'll see the shows, and you'll see some good music videos as well. So excited about that. So stoked. I'm of the MTV. Remember when MTV used to play music videos? If you're under 20, you probably don't. There are no music videos on MTV. Get off my soapbox. All right. Thank you so much, Andrew Dean, for being a part of the What Makes You Famous podcast. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, my loyal listener, if you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email keysdan@aol.com. That's it for me. It's keysdan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.